We are back from the weekend. This is Joy News, independent, fearless, and credible. You're welcome to the Monday's edition of The Pulse. And this afternoon, the campaign towards election 2024 is heating up, with presidential aspirants intensifying their campaigns. Today, it's been a day out for NDC's John Dramani Mahama in the Greater Accra region, and Alan Kyerematen of the Movement for Change, who is also in the Volta Regional Capital.
You do all the campaigning you can, beautiful campaign, attacks, but at the end you will not achieve the objective that you want. And so Greater Accra particularly, we want you to cover your polling stations with the best party agents.
Also, leader loved by party and constituents, controversial, and above all, a mother, Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabinya Ajua Safo, is my special guest on The Pulse today. And later, amid the numerous challenges facing the 70-year-old Komfanoti Teaching Hospital, doctors are threatening to withdraw services as they say they are faced with threats of eviction from KATH and some persons who claim to have bought the land on which they reside in Kumasi. These are more here on The Pulse. With me, Elton Brobe. It's a pleasure to be with you. The Pulse is brought to you by Global Communities Digilu, affordable, safe sanitation for all. We are live on DSTV channel 421. Go TV 125, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and myjoyonline.com for this and more. We shall be back to deal with the various matters. And it's a show you don't want to miss. And let's start from the worrying development at the Komfanoti Teaching Hospital. Earlier today, we heard from management who said the state of affairs makes the facility unfit to be described as a tertiary facility offering quality healthcare that attends to a minimum of 1,000 patients every day. Now, joining us is learning the only time the hospital went through renovation was in 1982, I beg your pardon, during the late Hela Liman regime. Well, this afternoon, fresh concerns are emerging as doctors there say they will be forced to abandon posts if authorities do not deal with individuals threatening to evict them from the lands they've been occupying for years. Joy News has cited a statement written by doctors to their union asking them to intervene. And this afternoon, I'm joined by Dr. Baidu. He's one of them. But before that, let me go through the statement as we have it. So this is an urgent petition against ejection of consultants and specialists, doctors in Komfanoti accommodation at Denyame. Now, consultants and specialist doctors in the Denyame enclave are being harassed, according to the statement, and threatened to move out of their accommodation, which are in the close proximity to the hospital where they are able to attend to emergencies promptly and around the clock. Now, this action is being spearheaded by private developers who claim they have sold these lands by Lands Commission by the Manshia Palace Regional Coordinating Council. Some of these consultants who have been living there for over 10 years have been given 1 month, or 1 week actually, to move or face forceful eviction by tax. They are incessantly being harassed by phone calls, threats of cutting their electricity and water supply, rendering them living in constant fear and panic. The rest of the consultants, according to the doctors and specialists living in this enclave, have been instructed to get ready for ejection since the developers are eager to take possession. Some of these consultants have served the hospital for almost 3 decades, that's over 30 years. And they are appealing to the Komfanoti Doctors Association and the Ghana Medical Association to intervene on their behalf to bring a lasting solution to this stressful and mentally draining situation, especially in the wake of Hill Komfanoti, which you believe that consultants who are vital stakeholders in the improvement of health service delivery in KATH should not be shamefully treated like this. And those who are residing in the Nyame area, they've appended their signature to this particular statement. And let me bring in Dr. Parkwesi Baidu. He is spokesperson for the aggrieved doctors. Dr. Baidu, you are on pulse here. Good afternoon, welcome.
Good afternoon.
So is it safe to say that this issue is not new? I mean, we heard of it last year, and now you have 1 week to move out. Is that the case?
Yes, so good afternoon to you and your listeners. Yes, though I am one of the affected, but we were written to as Ghana Medical Association. So this issue is not new. We've had several meetings on it where it was agreed that provision, yes, be made for accommodation around the hospital. And this is something that has been ongoing. Only for, we're told they are building some accommodations, blah, 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 blah. Only for some of our members to be written to. In fact, some had their electricity disconnected and everything. So this afternoon, I think this morning there were meetings in the hospital. And following that, the specialists and consultants met. And that is the Parliamentary Doctors Association. I am a member there. When it comes to the Ghana Medical Association, that's when I am the regional chair. So tomorrow morning, the Parliamentary Doctors Association will have a meeting. And the indications are that effective Wednesday morning, we will all stop work. Because, one, if the nation and the region does not appreciate what you do, and somebody thinks by virtue of having maybe political influence or money and does not care about the services you render and can just tell you to your face that just move out or I will throw you, I'll break the building or I remove the roof of your building or I'll disconnect your water and electricity. I don't think it's fair. So the doctors and all, it's not only doctors, there are other staff staying in these places. So we will stop work and go and look for money to go and get accommodation. And if it takes 1 month or 1 year to do that, that's how long we are prepared to stay out of here. Some doctors are also, and staff, are willing to leave the region entirely. You see, we are here advocating for heal Confederacy. But over the past year, the staff who are aiming at healing Confederacy are themselves sick. So if you are sick, you don't have a peace of mind, how can you heal the system? And that is why this letter was written. And in fact, Moraka indicated, I am a member in the staff of the hospital, and we will be having a meeting. If it so be it that the decision is to stop work and from the conversations we've had, that will be it. Once that is done, effective Wednesday morning, I don't know what time, we all stop work, and this time it's not going to be, we will not see this, we stop work. We're going to do that. When that happens, the Ghana Medical Association, again, of which I am a member, will meet. And we will let our members know that they don't need us in the region. So if we have to also stop it, because mind you, those bungalows are being occupied by both staff of Confederacy and Ghana Health Service, who are doctors.
Right. Dr. Wedu, do you reside in one of these bungalows at the Nyame?
Yes, I reside, and I can show you pictures of when I took possession of that. That building was left to rot. Meanwhile, it was for Confederacy, and I was given that building 2 years ago. And I spent close to 100,000 to renovate it with the agreement that once you do that by the hospital, before it was leased, given to the hospital, they will use that to defray your accommodation, or the name, rent. So those were, and that is what has been the practice, and that's for everybody there is paying. And most of these bungalows for the past 10 years or 2 years were renovated by the individuals residing in these bungalows. So yes, I stay in one, and in fact, we are being told to move, which we don't have a problem with.
But I just want to find out, so those people you describe as thugs who are calling and harassing you, they are doing so on whose behalf?
No, it's not staff of the hospital. We have faceless people calling themselves developers. Nobody knows their addresses. But you see, we've done our own investigations. These are politicians hiding behind individuals to get those lands. And so you'll be there, you receive calls that I have. You are in your building, like you are in your multimedia building, and somebody can't tell you your building has been, or the land has been sold to me to move out. If for some reason you want to sell, the properties were given to the various institutions. Why didn't you contact the hospital? That's Confederacy Teaching Hospital to indicate that, look, we want to redevelop. the hospital, I'm sure, would have said, okay, we will get it as an institution and redevelop it for our staff, not just those staying in there today, but for those to come tomorrow and then years to come. But no, because people think they have political influence or they have money, they can just do everything with impunity. It happened in Accra and it's happening here. And that's why we say, if you think all the services we are rendering is irrelevant, if we cannot steal or get illegal money to buy these lands that we stop work and then go and look for accommodation. And we stop work immediately. If it takes 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, so be it. And so that decision is reversed.
But doctor, I mean, I started by saying that this particular matter is not new. If as you trace back, in 2021, government released portions of the state lands at the Ridge residential area in Kumasi to Otumfuo to the second, 2021 up until now. And so, Konfanoche cannot say that this is new. So what has happened between 2021 up until now for you to take this decision that you have been forced out of your bungalow? Because
the hospital took the decision. In fact, we've had private discussions with the powers that we are in here and all that. And the agreement we were told is that they are putting up properties. And in fact, around the Regional Coordinating Council, and yes, there are some properties. And it was for them to pay the ejection until those are completed. And then the people, the doctors, because you see, mind you, for every institution, you need what we call first responders and people. So you need to be within a certain radius. It's a universal thing.
Right.
So that you can respond to emergencies, and that's what we do. So those properties were given to the hospital for a specific reason. And the overlord of Ashanti agreed. And that's why they said they were getting properties around that place, which is within 15-20 minutes to the hospital, so that you'll be able to respond as and when need be. Over the weekend, we had to leave. 4 of us had to be in the hospital at midnight at our own expense and all that. This is what we do, and that's the reason for that. The properties have not been completed, so why the hurry? Work is ongoing, and that's the steps, or these are the steps the hospital took. We are getting, and they've done it for the lawyers. Same area around the outfit. When you come, they build buildings, beautiful places, well-walled for the judges. And that was the agreement, and that was what is to be done. What has happened to all of a sudden, we are not done with those properties, but we are in a hurry to evict you. What is the secret behind that agency?
So this eviction notice is coming from the Regional Coordinating Council or the Ministerial Police?
You see, the Ministerial Police has never written that he is ejecting or they are ejecting. And in fact, we've had private conversations, and that discussion has not been come out. It's like we get you the agreement, get you this place, and afterwards we can do whatever we want. This is being spearheaded by the Regional Coordinating Council and the Land Commission. You get it. And
right.
If you go and read, you can do your own investigations. How much they are selling the land for, who they are selling the land to. And you notice that these are individuals with political backing or political influence who think is their side, so they can rush and grab whatever they want to hell with the doctors or healthcare providers and for whatever. And that is the reality now.
So this new accommodation that they are hoping that they move you from the Nyame residence to the new accommodation, who is funding it? Is it the Confederation Hospital or the developer?
Please, that person should be directed to the Regional Coordinating Council and the Land Commission.
And you say that this property is not yet ready for accommodation?
It's not.
And yet you are being forced out of your official bungalow?
Exactly. And so we don't have a problem. You want people to move out within a week? Yes. They will pack our things, put it in their cars, those that will be left in the rain, while they go looking for accommodation. But you cannot go looking for your things in your car and then be coming to work. And to safeguard the interest of the patients we see, because if you are already not well, like the hospital that we are aiming at clearing, how can you take care of the sick person? And since we ourselves are sick as doctors and healthcare workers, it's better we take excuse duty from work so that we can safeguard the lives and interests of Ghanaians. And that means we stop work.
So this 1 week countdown started today?
Oh, no, the meeting was today. And so 1 week, we're looking at the end of the week and all that. So we will not sit there. Yes, so we will be going to, that's why we said effective Wednesday, we'll start going looking for accommodation. And that means we all can, no doctor can come to work.
And have you alerted, Dr. Bedu, have you alerted the management of Confanochi about your predicament?
But as I indicated, yes, the hospital management is aware. In fact, today they met the staff. It's not only doctors who are saying that, they met everybody staying there, and they are helpless.
And you say that this action could be understood to mean that your services are no longer needed in the region?
Oh, but if multimedia needs you, would they tell you move out when you move out of stop your program within a week or a day? Be honest with yourself. If they really value your service, would they treat you like a criminal? Would they evict you like you've been convicted? If multimedia needs you now, would they treat you that way?
So how you have families that live with you? How are they thinking this development?
You see, it's traumatizing to everybody around the health providers. And when I say health providers, it's not only doctors who say most of these. For people have been having sleepless nights, every now and then they call, oh, Dr. Bedu, are we really being evicted? For the past months. And people are coming with pressures and everything because, you see, and we know how the economy is. And you know rent, though they say rent control department will tell you nobody should take rent of more than 6 months or even 1 quarter. But now you need to go and force out 2-year rent to do that. So it's not being easy. And it's not like the system is taking good care of us to have enough money switching down that you just go dip your hands into it and then go and rent a place within a week. So as we indicated, yes, if our services are needed, somebody will not just sit somewhere because they have the political power and tell you move out. And so if we have to move out, we stop work and go and look for accommodation. Or we move to regions where our services will be appreciated.
And your warning here is that until this eviction notice is withdrawn on Wednesday, you won't be at post.
You see, as I indicated, the doctors will be meeting tomorrow morning. And whatever decision that is taken, that is it. And if that is done, if the decision tomorrow morning is to stop work, that will be done. And if that is done, the Ghana Medical Association in the region will also meet and support our colleagues. And I'm sure eventually the GMA in Ghana will also support. Because you see, at the end of the day, once they do it, they started in Accra and they succeeded. They come to Kumasi, they will succeed. And I'm sure the next one will be in Volta region. And then we move to OT region and we move to Northern region. So once you get one person and we sit down on concern, they will do it to our members. And we don't want our members in Northern region or T region to go through that same issue. So the Ghana Medical Association will also act.
But my final question will be, those affected, some of you are specialists and consultants, work in the hospital for over 30 years. In the absence of people like you, what impact would that have on healthcare delivery, especially at the Confanochi Teaching Hospital?
You see, I just chanced on an article on your website where they tell you that statistics from the
ambulance
service indicate that we receive more patients than any hospital in the country. And it's not joke. You see, if you combine the cases we see in a week, add all the cases, all the hospitals in Accra, they don't, when you add them in a week, they don't get the cases, combined cases that we get in Confanochi here. Those are not my statistics. Those are statistics coming from the ambulance service. And these are even the ambulance service. add to those who just come in private cars with taxis and everything. The hospital is overworked. The staff in this hospital are overworking. And now, thank God, we had a management that is trying to let us appreciate. They appreciate the enormity of the situation, trying to make conditions better, trying to renovate our hospital so that you working under that stress, at least you know the environment is clean. And then somebody comes from nowhere to jeopardize that. And that is the situation. So if you tell you we are working twice or 3 or 4 times as hard as every doctor anyway. And these are the cream of, we supervise the house officers, the residents and everything. And once these people are being harassed, obviously the younger ones cannot work. And it's the main people who are running the hospital in not only Konkonoti, we have consultants from Ministerial Hospital, Kumasi staff, all staying there. And all these people are being harassed. And so it's going to impact negatively. You see, if we stop work on Wednesday, you see what will happen even in just one hospital. And that should tell you the stress we go through to make sure the people in Ashanti region and Ghana are kept alive and they are in good health. And if we will be treated this way, so be it.
All right, let's leave it here. And then with the hope that the management and, of course, the Regional Coordinating Council will find a way to bring finality to this matter so that we don't get to the situation where your services will be drawn on Wednesday. Thank you very much, Dr. Parkwesi Bedu, for speaking to us this afternoon. Right, so Dr. Parkwesi Bedu is spokesperson for some aggrieved doctors at the Confederate Teaching Hospital. They've been given 1 week to vacate their official residence at Denyame in Kumasi, which is not far from the hospital, because that particular land has been rezoned and then the private developer has started work on it. Let me give you a background to this. So in 2021, the government released a portion with an area of 409,024 acres that spans from the northwestern section of the military barracks near Konfanoti Teaching Hospital. The site is along the Bekwai Road, as the western boundary, to the Santase roundabout, with the southern bypass as the southern boundary. The land also lies towards Dakujum to KCC State Experimental School along the Nyami stream to the north, with the Cedar Road as the eastern boundary. And this was in 2021 that government released a portion of state lands at a rich residential area in Kumasi to Otumfo Osetutu II. And then the doctors, their bungalows is captured within this land, released to the Asante, and were told in 2022 actually to take steps to vacate because the place was going to be redeveloped. And I'm sure that they've been back and forth on the discussion. And this afternoon, the doctors say that they have been given correspondence which indicates that they are to vacate the official residence at Denyame within a week, failure upon which they will be evicted forcefully. And as you heard Dr. Bedu say, they are going to meet on Wednesday, the doctors, and then take a decision on the way forward. One of the decisions they are likely to take is to withdraw their services, go and look for accommodation, or possibly leave the region, because according to him, it appears their services are no longer needed. This is a pause here on Joy News with me, Elton Broben. Now, let's move to some other stories now. And then if I hear of the Chala traditional area, Nana Sabrom Amuesa II has called on the Electoral Minister designate Daniel Machato to be fair and firm in his attempt to broker peace among feuding factions in the area. 3 ethnic groups, Chala, Adele, and Achode, have repeatedly clashed with each other in the Nkwanta area, resulting in the death of dozens of citizens. Today, leaders of the 3 traditional areas were in Parliament to support the Electoral Regional Minister designate Daniel Machato. Join his veteran in Parliament today. James Abeji is monitoring proceedings and join me via Zoom. James, so let's start from the call by these traditional areas to the regional minister. I know that they didn't have the opportunity to address him publicly, but why are they making this, and how did they put across this petition?
Yes, Elton. So, I mean, I was a bit taken aback when, at the end of the vetting of the regional minister designate, the chairman of the committee, as it has become the norm, would would, introduce some dignitaries who accompanied the nominee to the vetting. And he announced the leaders or the traditional leaders of the three feuding factions in the Nkwanta South area. And so I quickly had to try and speak to some of them, and the Nimfahini of Chala actually spoke to us. We know that the area has been a hot zone for the past few months, from middle of last year till now. There have been clashes among the citizens in the area belonging to the various traditional areas. And it is in that engagement, even before the engagement during the vetting of the minister nominee, he was asked what his top priorities are for the Oti region. And the number one he mentioned was about peace. And then development in the area. Surprisingly, on the committee, during the vetting, there hasn't been any single mention of the Nkwanta South, clashes over the period. And so I had the opportunity to speak to the Nimfahini, and he mentions that they, as traditional leaders, have not been happy at all with the way the former regional minister, Joshua Makubu, and the MC for the Nkwanta South area dealt with the issue over the period. According to them, they have been, their stance have been tilted towards one faction amongst the three. And so they believe that there must be some serious engagement between the three traditional areas. And in doing that, the regional minister designate, if approved, must have his feet firm on the ground and take independent decisions devoid of any interference from anyone, especially one of the traditional areas he thinks that have over the period, through their actions, want to impose themselves on the others. And so that's what actually brought up the call. I was curious whether they exchanged pleasantries as various traditional leaders who have been involved in these clashes. He mentioned that, in fact, they didn't even know that they were even coming to meet the other traditional areas. And so they met, the exchange pleasantry with one of them. The other, he couldn't do that, but he looked forward to doing that. And so as far as he is concerned, his part of the feuding factions have always been ready to smoke the peace pipe. It's now the responsibility of the leaders, especially the regional minister, who is the head of the regional security council, to stand his grounds and give fair hearing to every side involved in all of these clashes. Helton.
So there was also the issue about calls for prison reforms. How did that come up, James?
So interestingly, the regional minister designates have spent a lot of his years serving in the public as an officer of the Ghana Prison Service, served as a public relations officer for the prison service, now serving as deputy public relations at the now UNIMAC, University of Media Arts and Communication. And so the members of the committee were drawing on his experience serving with the Ghana Prison Service. And he said that the Ghana Prison Service, as we have it now, have become what he calls a warehouse of human beings, or human being warehouse, rather than the reformational centers or systems we thought the prison service would serve. And so he was calling for the need to make sure that the objective of the prison service to reform inmates before they come out is met. For instance, he makes the point that since 2011, monies for the feeding of prisoners has been 1 cedi 80 pesos, and so for the past decade it has still been 1 cedi 80 pesos. It doesn't know how they would want that to impact the lives of prisoners, and so stressing the need that even if we have to decentralize the prison system to the district and municipal level, where every district or municipality would put up a prison that can house at least 100 inmates, that will be fine, in order to bring down the number on the central prisons, the regional prisons, in order for the formative agenda to take course.
And who else appeared before the committee, and what more do we know?
So far, the two deputy energy ministers have been appearing before the committee. First was one of the deputies, I mean, appearing before the committee, and there have been issues about some $2 million by the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund. In fact, he serves as a member of the board of that fund, and that's Honorable Collins Adomako Mensah. And they've raised issues about the Infrastructure Investment Fund actually investing some $2 million in the SkyTrain project. We know about this government SkyTrain project and how that has not been yet achieved. The committee entreated him to make sure that he put his voice out there to make sure the GIIF actually retrieved this money. Vincent Asifua have also appeared before the committee as Deputy Local Government Minister, saying that indeed we need to take steps to make sure that DCs get elected, and he thinks that it needs to be on partisan basis so that when they get elected, we can hold them accountable, the citizens can hold them accountable for their work, not that the president has appointed and so they are accountable to the president. He thinks that we must take steps to bring back the discussion about DCs or MMDCs getting elected. Those are persons who have appeared before the committee so far and what we've been hearing from them. Left with one other nominee to close the day.
And before I let you go, James, we know that in the new standing orders of Parliament, I mean, while they are vetting other committee members, like for example, when they vetted the Deputy Minister Designate for Local Governments, you will find members from the Local Government Committee in Parliament join to also ask questions. Is that what is happening?
Since the start of the committee vetting process, that has been the practice. In fact, you will find more members of the committee responsible for the ministry that the nominee is coming from, more of those members on the appointment committee asking more of the questions than the substantive members of the appointment committee. So that has been the practice throughout. And for instance, when we had the energy minister, it looks like that was the comfort zone of the ranking member, ranking leader on the committee, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa. We had members of the energy committee, and same apply to the other committees as well. Local government, you have people like Neil Ante van der Poel and the rest coming to ask questions, probe the committee, the nominee, and on all of that. So that part of the standing orders have been upheld since the beginning of the vetting.
All right, thank you very much, James Aveji, covering the vetting of ministers nominated by President Akufo-Addo. This is a pause here on Joy News. Now let's stay a little longer on your election headquarters, because the Electoral Commission is prepared to conduct a by-election in the constituency of the late Deputy Finance Minister Dr. John Kuma at Ejuso in the Ashanti region. Dr. Kuma passed away last week after a brief illness. According to parliamentary regulations, communications to the EC must occur within 7 days of an MP's passing. Although the time frame has not yet elapsed, Deputy EC boss Dr. Sribo Kweku stated that they are ready to proceed with the elections upon official notification from Parliament. He said this, among other issues discussed at the Inter-Party Advisory Committee meeting, where modalities with political parties were addressed.
I would say that last year's one should be one of the best that I have ever participated. Because there was respect for each other, there was the cordial environment, and I think when we finished, they themselves all confessed that they will go to the public. I remember Dr. Banaba saying that the group will hear of it. So
I remember engaging one of them. Dr. Manibuama said so. That I mean, they were happy about the way you went about the issues. The PNC candidate and other political parties said so. But what actually worked out the magic for you this time around? Well,
I think they will be in the position to explain, but probably because we said we were not changing anything, that we are going by the old systems. Because initially we had wanted to do some reforms, and we have different views, so we decided to share all those proposals and go by the existing CIs. So probably, and we also gave them detailed timetable. So whoever had the view that we didn't have timetable, all realized that we have very detailed timetable. So putting the two together, I think they're satisfied.
Delayed with the release release of the voters register, the elections calendar. Just barely about how many months, 8 months to go and all that. You agree with them that you delayed? Or is that normal time you normally release it?
I don't know whether you know when the 2020 timetable came by. So it's one of the earliest release of calendar that you can talk about.
So the major concern was that you did not engage them. They only saw it in the media. Is that the status quo? Is that the convention in you publishing your election calendar?
Let me explain. The commission did not officially release any timetable, right? Yeah. If you read all the sources, it was maybe you say you intercepted something and the rest. So, and even the one that you read from the papers, I didn't talk about 5 or 6 activities, but the one we gave them was about 6 activities. So if the commission wanted to officially release it, would have released the full calendar. So when it came, they read that what we were holding was more detailed than what they read, so it wasn't an issue at the meeting at all.
The last time I came here, there was a press conference. You were there and your boss herself was there. We're talking about the use of the indelible ink because your system is robust. You don't need to have, there's no need for you to apply the indelible ink because your system can detect anyone who wants to engage in electoral fraud and all that. But what has changed? Because in the statement that you have issued after the meeting with at IPAC, you have indicated that the use of the indelible ink will be maintained.
You see, commission is a listening institution. If we appreciate what the biometric registration process is, it takes away possibility of anybody having more than one name on the register. So we were of the view that once we are using the biometric and you cannot vote more than once, the essence of the indelible ink was to prevent people from voting more than once. And we are of the view that the biometric has come to do that job very well. But the people that you are serving are saying that they believe what you are saying, but in addition, they want the assurance to be double. So bring the indelible ink. We say, oh, fine. If that's what we want, we'll bring it. So there's no issue. One, that's what people are looking for. Some people are saying that even when they go home, they will show the people that they have voted with the indelible ink. So it becomes more of cosmetics. And if you do what the people want, why will you say no?
Now, the guarantor system has also been maintained.
Yes.
However, the MPP raised concerns about the possibility of the stakeholders, that is the political parties, at the point maybe guaranteeing for some of the voters, and that's their major concern. How do you intend to address this?
See, anybody in the Electoral Commission has never been comfortable with the way the guarantee system is being abused. You have people who have been vouching for people they have never met before. So we say that some people have become more of guarantee contractors. So we were thinking that anything that may lead to people who are not qualified to be registered to register should be taken away. But we were of the view that NIA would have covered a lot of people convincingly, so that people will not have any excuse. But from the look of things, it seems they have not been able to cover people to the satisfaction of most Ghanaians. So we wanted to introduce the Ghana card as a way of tracing all the other evidences that we were supposed to prove in addition to the passport. But once the NIA has not been able to cover the numbers that are appreciative and everybody will have confidence in the system, then why wouldn't you allow the status quo to remain? People were objecting to our reform of introducing the Ghana card as a way of doing registration. Okay. So if people have doubts about the availability of the NIA, we are working for Mother Ghana. So well and good. But the caveat that the chairperson gave at the meeting was that we are asking the political parties themselves to help us maintain the credibility of the register by not facilitating the registration of minors and foreigners.
Now let's address this issue about the limited voter registration exercise. You said you are using 21 days. Would
yes.
that be enough?
more than enough. We are already registering people who have not registered. If you look at the 2023 one, we raised around 900,000, less than 1 million. And we raise more than 1 million within 1 week. So the 21 days are good enough for anybody who intends registering to register.
Now you intend to split existing polling stations where you have over 700 registered.
749. 749.
749.
We have always been doing that.
Yeah, the initial concern was that you should create new polling stations, right?
No, you see, if you want to create a new polling station, then how do you get the voters for that polling station? Because without the voters, the polling station doesn't exist. So number is when you are going to compile new voters register, that you create new polling stations. Because if you say that you want to create a polling station here, who are the people who are going to form that polling station? Because the people have already registered for different polling stations. So what you can do is that where the numbers are more than the threshold of 749, as we used in 2020, then you split that center. So there are some polling stations which were split into 4, depending on the numbers. So the same thing that we are going to do in 2024, that wherever the number of voters in a particular polling station is more than the 749 threshold, then it will be split.
Let's talk about the filing fees for the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. It remained the same, no change. What triggered that?
Yes, so for the parliamentary one, it has been so since 2016. So that was 10,000 in 2016, 10,000 in 2020, and it will be 10,000 in 2024. For the parliamentary, it was 50,000 in 2016.
That's the presidential.
The presidential, sorry. For 2020, it was 50,000. Then it was increased to 100,000 in 2020, and we say we are going to repeat that. The Commission doesn't want to use the deposit as a way of deterring people from coming to contest. But the caveat to it is that it's a deposit. Okay. If for parliamentary, you're able to garner 12.5%, which is 1/8 of the valid votes, the money will be refunded to you. Okay. For presidential, if you get 25%, which is 1/4 of the valid votes, the money will be refunded to you. That's why it is a deposit. But still, you need to pay before you contest. So we would want to maintain the figures that will not deter anybody. But if you look at the values in real value, monetary value terms in 2020 compared to this time, you realize that 10,000 in 2016 cannot be the same as 2020. It can also not be the same as 2024. So in real values, we have rather reduced the deposits.
What's the best offer you can give the smaller political parties? Because ordinarily, obviously, they don't have the same finances with the bigger political parties.
First, I don't think at the meeting none of them complained. And in our books, we don't have any smaller party or bigger party. All the parties are treated equally. So when we come to taking decisions with respect to money and the rest, we come out with political parties. We don't segregate them with respect to our so-called smaller parties and bigger parties. All parties are parties. We treat them equally.
Right. How ready are you resource-wise? Is everything set, your human resource base and the finances that you need to run these elections?
You know that when it comes to human resource, we always use the permanent staff and the temporary staff. Yeah. So we are in the process of recruiting the temporary staff as and when they are needed. So far, I think we are on time and we don't have any issue. If you look at the place before you entered, there are a lot of people there. They are working on the. About a month ago, we advertised for people to apply to become return officers and what have you. We had a lot of people who have applied, and we are doing the shortlisting. Very soon, we'll do the interview and we'll move on.
We know you've been able to solve the bottlenecks with the political parties. A reason, perhaps this year's election appears to be calm and cordial, your relationship with them. Unlike the previous ones, we have been hearing banter between the political parties and the EC. What is the assurance that you're going to supervise a free, fair, and transparent elections?
Electoral Commission has always been doing its work based on what the law says. So once we are on the side of the law, we'll go ahead and do it. Those things, probably at times, we need to be engaging the parties and the rest. But we have never gone outside the law. So we will go by the law, and we are expecting that at the political parties and other stakeholders who also support us. You, the media, for instance, you are one of our key stakeholders. You are supposed to tell the people what, for example, the timetable we have given up. Without the media, the people will not know. When the political parties are doing their things, you are the one who should give them the publicity. When the candidates are going around, you are the one who will give them publicity. So we should also give coverage to anybody who wants to contest so that there will be fair coverage. And if you are also a security man, you should treat everybody the same. If you are the voter, go and register once and vote once. Observers look at what is happening and give fair assessment of it. So every stakeholder has a role to play. Electoral Commission alone cannot assure Ghanaians of credible elections if the other stakeholders decide to do what is not required of them.
Have you been able to reinforce your security system in terms of the data that you have so that you'll be able to avoid possible the election using the electronic system?
I don't know what you mean by rigging. Rigging is putting in place systematic mechanism to change the winner to a loser. And I don't think the way our system is, the transparency, the accountability in the system, integrity in the system, nobody can rig election in Ghana. If I always say that, bring any of the presidential candidates to be the chair of the commission, he can never alter the results. So for elections in Ghana, issue of rigging are completely out. Now, with respect to the data, we are not using electronic transmission. Our collation and everything is manual. So there's no issue of cyber threat. The only thing that we would, when we are doing the manual, we can do the tabulation using the IT system. But it's never done to transmit it so that you can come and say that you have hacked the system. So the system is manual, so you cannot hack the system.
All right. We have a sad situation at hand. Member of Parliament for Ejisu and then the former Deputy Finance Minister has unfortunately passed on, John Kuma. May he so rest in peace, though. But what does that mean that a by-election is looming?
If you look at Article 112 as amended, when a vacancy occurs less than 3 months, we will not do by-election. But if it's more than 3 months, the Commission is enjoined to organize by-election. So once the Commission is officially informed, we'll kickstart the process to have the by-election. We have no choice. That is what the Constitution demands of us.
Whether you have resources or not, you go ahead?
It is a constitutional mandate. So we don't provide resources for ourselves. But once we get the notice that the vacancy has occurred, and it is more than 3 months, the Commission has no choice but to kickstart the by-election.
How long is this notice supposed to come from Parliament?
The law says that when the Parliament gets to know of it, the clerk of Parliament should inform us not less than 7 days.
Not less than 7 days.
Yes, and when we also hear of that, once it is that not less than 60 days, we have to do it.
So officially, you have not been informed because
not at all.
7 days have not passed. Is that the case?
I don't want to talk about it because I don't know when they'll be informed. But the law is that once you hear of it, clerk of Parliament should inform us not less more than 7 days after hearing of that. And when it gets to us, if it's ordinary vacancy, then we need to do that within 30 days. But if it's as a result of death, then we need to do it within 60 days.
So you are on standby, waiting for the notification to go and conduct the elections?
Until we are informed, we don't know of any vacancy.
Right. The last bit I want to hear from you has to do with the fact that the NDC, in one of their rallies today, indicated that they want to deploy their own drones to monitor the elections in Greater Accra. What do you make of such assertion from the major opposition?
And that's the EC Director of Electoral Services, Dr. Sribo Kweku. In that interview, my colleague Samuel Mbura, you are watching the polls here on Joy News. When we come back, chaos erupted in Parliament as leaders concluded the debate on the State of the Nation address. You want to stay tuned and then hear what transpired in Parliament today. We shall be back. Back on the pause here on Joy News. Now, let me take you live to Parliament now, because there was chaos in the House today when Majority Leader Alexander Kyerematen took aim at John Mahama's running mate for the 2024 election, Professor J. Nano Pokwajman. The two leaders were concluding debates on the State of the Nation address. The minority leader, Dr. K.C. Alatoforsen, had concluded his debate, which partly focused on Vice President Mahmoud Bawumia. Majority Leader Alexander Fanyama also used a considerable part of his debate to berate the choice of the former University of Cape Coast Vice Chancellor as running mate to John Dramani Mahama.
When the IMF boss was interviewed by Graphic, sorry, 2014, on the 3rd of 2014, when Graphic interviewed Madame Christine Lagarde, this is what she had to say about Ghana. Quote, she said the country was making tremendous progress. However, when oil was discovered, we could not sustain the oil revenues and same got abused. And what went wrong? And I'll quote her. According to her, Ghana made tremendous strides over the past 15 years and ranked among the fast-growing countries in Africa that have made significance in poverty reduction. But the discovered oil might have given the illusion that the public finance imbalances would get resolved easily. Continue. This may have weakened the sense of fiscal discipline, but in reality, oil revenues flowing to the budget have been relatively limited compared with other oil producers. Mr. Speaker, she goes, as a consequence, public debt has more than doubled since Ghana was released in 2005, she added. Mr. Speaker, so clearly, this is the IMF boss speaking, telling Ghanaians that when this same group of persons under the banner of the NDC had a chance, they couldn't appropriate our oil revenues in a manner that Ghanaians were to benefit. Ghanaians suffered under their regime. These are the same people who today are telling Ghanaians that they can do better. And that brings me to the question. They have a former president, they have a former education minister who make their card for this in December. We know the track record of the education minister. All the promises she gave under the e-block system. When she boldly means that free SHS was impossible. She was the chief advisor on education policy. And this government has implemented free SHS. If you want to bring the same Mahama of yesterday and Jane of yesterday to rule 4 more years, Mr. Speaker, what new are they going to bring? In any event, we had the same IMF boss again addressing the press, a government of Ghana in 2018, Mr. Speaker, has made tremendous progress, has done so well. Mr. Speaker, this was after we are taking office. Mr. Speaker, this was after we are taking office. But I would borrow from President Mahama to sum up all the things that his own men in this chamber are saying to us. Mr. Speaker, I borrow from his words at column 1828 of the State of the Nation address he delivered to this House dated 25th of 2016, which is now part of our official records. Mr. Speaker, this is what President Mahama said. Quote, it is instructive that yesterday marked 50 years since the overthrow of Nkrumah. Indeed, a lot of the current happenings in our country can have a throwback to what happened in those last days of former President Nkrumah. Despite the huge monumental development, despite the progress the country was making, transformation and change in the lives of the people sometimes is difficult for people to see. Mr. Speaker, emphasis, sometimes is difficult for people to see. I throw back these words at the NDC. it is so difficult for you to see the interventions that have been made so far. In the central region alone, the MPP can boast of the beach projects. In the central, though you have a running mate from there, for the 8 years you cannot boast of a single social intervention program introduced by you. In central region, the MPP has done so well. If you go to Ekunfi, the Ekunfi juice is there. The Ekunfi juice, that factory is doing so well. Today, it is exporting Ghanaian fruit juice abroad. Mr. Speaker, this is the MPP has done. In terms of education, all our children who qualify are getting the opportunity to study. The NDC cannot see, and your own flag bearer said that it is difficult for you to see. When we had crisis in this country, your own president said that because we are import dependent, when there are disruptions in global trade, our country suffers. Today, you are in denial. Well, this is what he told us in 2016, and Hansard has captured it. Where is your principle? Where is your principle? Mr. Speaker, Mr. President was very optimistic, was very candid, and he's told us that in spite of all this we go through as a country, it is possible to get out of this situation. In spite of the Russia-Ukraine war, it is possible to lay a good foundation for a proper takeoff. In spite of the repercussions and the aftermath of COVID, because of sound policies, it is possible for Ghana to move on. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, the future of this country is better secured in the hands of NPP and Dr. Bawumia than in under the NDC, where we know their track record. They offer nothing new. It's the same old people.
Honorable Majority
they have just come back to mislead. Mr. Speaker, I thank you so much for the opportunity.
Very well. Thank you so much. So, honorable members, on the 29th of February, the motion to thank the President for his message was moved by Honorable Abena Oseasari, and it was seconded by Honorable Samuel Kujitwa. The debate has gone on thoroughly, and today we've brought a close. So at the conclusion of the debate, I will question. And the question is, as many as are in favor of the motion moved by Honorable Oseasari and seconded by Okujota Brakwa, all those in motion say aye. All those against say no. Honorable members, you know the ayes have it. The motion is adopted. Honorable members, on behalf of the House, I shall accordingly, with standing orders 72-4, formally convey the decision of the House to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana. I thank you for the debate, and you are Honorable, I'm done. I'm thanking all of you for your support.
May I speak? Thank you very much. Just an observation for the leaders, and in particular their whips, to take note of. Mr. Speaker, on our parliamentary calendar, this particular session of the 8th Parliament 21st sitting is normally dedicated to an important constitutional assignment. If you have calendar well, and for the young ones, maybe today they take guidance from. This session is normally for us to do what you've just done, to hear the president in accord with Article 67 on his message on the state of the nation. Then when we go home and come back, we expect the Honorable Minister for Finance to come for mid-year review of the budget in accordance with the Constitution and the Public Financial Management Act. Then when we come, the third session is the budget. So, Mr. Speaker, the leaders, you can't crowd watching your back. You can't come and do thank you to the president with these empty seats. That's not acceptable. So, Mr. Speaker, next time, on a day like this,
Yes.
because, Mr. Speaker, on a day like this, it's because of maybe it was left for you, would not have allowed him to put the question. It's because Mr. Speaker is here. So, you watch your back. You are in charge. You are supposed to be in charge. That's why you didn't want the honorable and the doctor. You're supposed to be in charge. Look at your back. Mr. Speaker, and this is constitutional. Article 67, message on the state of the nation. And Mr. Speaker, even formally, maybe they should know what you do. You will attach the debate in the correspondence from this house to that. And we expect that the president will read he will be guided by some positive comments made by MPs so that he's guided into the future. What's the essence of what we are doing? Good governance. So you come on a day like this, leaders are concluding empty. But Mr. Speaker, because it's you said I'm putting the question, I almost rose to arrest the question. To arrest it if I got your attention. But Mr. You have so passed it. But the whips held the leaders. No. On the day that leaders are to speak, and on the day leaders are to debate, part of the respect for them as leaders of this house is your availability and presence in the house. At least to cheer you up, not in the way like a football stadium, to cheer you up.
Thank you very much for your...
So the debate on the State of the Nation address finally over. The Parliament will communicate their response to the President of the Republic. Let me bring in Parliamentary correspondent Kwaku Asante for a brief chat on this matter. So Kwaku, it's over. So what next?
The First Deputy Speaker Andrew Amakwesi presided over the House today and will actually communicate the thanks of the Parliament of Ghana to the President of the Republic, and he indeed has indicated on the floor. But of course, it will not end without some controversy, and it was near chaos on the floor of the House when some NDC MPs will not take their seats. I mean, some of them standing and banging the tables on the floor of the House because of certain attributions that had been made by the majority leader, Alexander Appenyo-Markin. Whilst Appenyo-Markin was delivering his remarks, he referred to Professor Nana Ado Dankwa, who has been named as running mate to the former president as old and someone who just does not portend any future for the NDC. And because of that, the NDC MPs wanted him to retract the exact words he had used. Alexander Appenyo-Markin at the time was not ready to do so, and the NDC MPs would not allow proceedings to proceed if he did not apologize and retract those comments. Initially, they refused to do that, and at some point, the second Deputy Speaker had to suspend sitting because the House was just degenerating into chaos with so many NDC MPs on their feet, Isaac Adongo, Alassane Suwini, and a number of them in the backbenches on their feet, banging the tables and saying that until Alexander Appenyo-Markin retracts and apologizes for those comments he made against Professor Nana Ado Dankwa, they will not take their seat. The House had to be suspended. And then the NDC MPs did a press conference led by 3 female MPs, also led by the MP for Ketu South, Honorable Jibago Mashi, who actually said that the comments of Alexander Appenyo-Markin questioned women's ability to lead. But of course, not a response from the majority chief whip, Frank Anodom, who explained that there was nothing about the comment that had been made by the majority that should generate the kind of response that had come on. So after some back and forth, the House returned about 25 minutes ago, and Alexander Appenyo-Markin had to continue his debate, but first by retracting the comment that he made in question to the John Mohammed's running mates that the NDC MPs found offensive. He had to retract and apologize for that, and then the sitting had to proceed.
So today is all about the conclusion of the debate. Nothing else happening on the floor?
Well, we expected that in some $150 million loan that they expected to take. There's also a statement on Ramadan, which has started today.
Right.
But that 150 million loan, given the mood in the House now, it appears that may not be taken, but we do not have any indication on that yet. The sitting is still progressing with comments on the Ramadan that has just started today. There was a statement by Ibrahim Murtala Mohammed, MPs on both sides, are commenting on that. After that, if the House is in any mood to do so, you already had Haruna Iddrisu raise questions about quorum. Early on, the NDC MPs, some of them have raised issues that there are so many NDP MPs who are not attending, and in fact, even some NDC MPs also who are not coming into the House. So after this statement, we will see the indication leadership will give to the Speaker of Parliament on whether or not the business should proceed, whether this loan agreement, 150 million, to support the budget, also the Greater Accra Region Resilience Program, will be taken or not.
Right. Thank you very much. Kokwa Santi is a parliamentary correspondent updating us on matters on the floor. Now, let's stay on your election headquarters because it's day one of former President John Mahama's Building Ghana tour in the Greater Accra region. And so far, he's been to the Regional House of Chiefs in Dodowa and currently at the Abosuokai Spare Parts Enclave. Nanaya Aljima is traveling with him and joins me with more. Nanaya, if you can hear me, what is the mood at Abosuokai where you have made a stop?
So it's a charged atmosphere here at Abosuokai. Huge number of people welcomed the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress to Abosuokai. A lot of people made it out of their shops just to come wave at the former president, welcome him to Abosuokai. Presently, the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress is within a meeting with the leadership of Abosuokai and other traditional authorities within Abosuokai. But before the NDC's flag bearer made his way here, he had a brief meeting with the Greater Accra House of Chiefs. Before that, there was an entry meeting with the leadership or the party executives of the National Democratic Congress within the Greater Accra regions. These are some of the things that have been happening here. But let's go through some of the things that the flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has been saying in the Greater Accra region. First, at the meeting with the leadership of the NDC in the Greater Accra region, John Dramani Mahama emphasized the need for the party to be united and ensure that they go out and campaign massively for the NDC come elections. And also, he made it key that there is need for the National Democratic Congress to enhance its monitoring system when it comes to the elections, because he believes that the NDC may campaign, they may go to every part of the country and the regions, they will campaign massively, the people will get the message and vote them. But if there is not enhanced monitoring, the election may not go the NDC's way. So he believes that monitoring is as important as campaigning. At the National House of Chiefs, there's one thing that he said that made all the traditional authority there very happy. That is the need for a commission of inquiry to be set up when he wins to ensure that they investigate the land issues within the Ga-Adangbe lands and ensure that lasting solution is found to issues of land tenure system here in the Greater Accra region. He also spoke about the need and road network will be built and link these places to ensure that if someone is within Accra and wants to go to any agency or institution that has been relocated, there will be easy access to these areas. So these are some of the things that John Mahama has been saying here in the Greater Accra region. But I have with me the Deputy General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Mustafa Bande, with me, and he has been on tour with the flag bearer of the NDC. Mustafa, welcome to Joy News.
Thank you very much.
You went to the Western region with us, and you've also visited some of the regions as the Building Ghana tour, continue to go around. Tell me, what's your observation?
Clearly, you can see for yourself. As we have said this year's election, you have to assess your own standard of living in order to vote. This year's election is not like any other election. It's an election for every Ghanaian. It's an election that determines the fate of every Ghanaian. See,
So we are live from Abosokan, where the flag bearer of the NDC is engaging with the spare parts dealers, and my colleague Nana Ojima, who is traveling with the former president, was just speaking to the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bandi. As and when we have a stable stand, we'll bring that to you. But that is the NDC flag bearer at Abosokan here in Accra, engaging as part of his Building Ghana tour with voters to sell the NDC's idea to them ahead of the election 2024 in December, where he is contesting on the ticket of the NDC. We'll take you back to the Abosokan spare parts enclave, where he is engaging currently in a meeting with the leadership, and after which he will address the crowd and to tell them the plans of the NDC as far as this particular business enclave is concerned.
Nothing else, nothing more, unless Ghanaians do not vote for the NDC. If they vote for the NDC, that vote will be counted, that vote will be protected by all means.
Now, in the meeting with the regional executives of the NDC in the Greater Accra region, we heard one thing that a lot of people are so interested in, that it's likely that the NDC will deploy some drones in monitoring the elections. How true is that?
We will deploy every single thing legally permissible within our rights to ensure that we protect every single life and every single vote. Because the people we are dealing with are murderers. They have killed and they are still in power. They have killed and there's no justice for the victims. We will not allow anyone to be killed again. We will ensure that no life will be lost, no vote will be stolen come December 7th.
You cannot call the NPP murderers because there is no evidence to that.
9 people in the 2020 elections. Justice have not been given to those people. We all know.
Now let's talk about the drones issue. Let's talk about the drones issue. How do you deploy them? What are you doing about that?
I'm not aware of drones, but I'm saying that we will deploy, including everything legally permissible, to help us protect our lives and protect the election.
Is this something that the NDC is not willing to talk about?
I'm saying that we will deploy every single means, including spiritual deployment, to ensure that every life is protected, every vote is protected. We are going to ensure that election 2024 is violent free. Election 2024 will be transparent, will be credible, and will represent the will of the Ghanaian people. No one will take that election for granted.
All right, thank you very much. So the people here are still anticipating John Dramani Mahama's return to the podium. He was here earlier, but he had to engage leadership of the Abosokan Industrial Enclave. So they are currently in a meeting. After the meeting, it's expected that John Dramani Mahama will be here, listen to the concerns of the people within Abosokan and tell them what he has to say or what the NDC will be putting in their manifesto to help the businesses of these people. Now, some things that are expected to be mentioned by these artisans and spare parts dealers include issues of the poor nature of the economy, because in Ashanti region, it is one thing that the people within the Sun Magazine enclave spoke about, that the economy is so bad that they are unable to have or trade as they expect. So it's also expected to come here at the Abosokan Industrial Enclave. We'll be here to listen to them and the response of Mahama to the plight of the from Abosokan. My name is Nana Ojima.
And as the NDC is building a Better Ghana campaign, which has taken the flag bearer John Mahama to Abosokan, he is on the 2-day tour of the Greater Accra region, bring you more sound bites from the NDC's flag bearer. But the election period is heating up. So from the Greater Accra region, let me take you to the Volta region, where the founder and leader of the butterfly movement, Kyerematen, has promised to transform the Juapon into Northton district of the Volta region into an economic hub. He said he aims to revamp the Volta Star Tester factory, uplift the market, and establish a traders bank in the enclave to achieve his vision. He therefore entreated electors in the Volta region to desist from following the National Democratic Congress and vote for him in the December 7 general election to enable him improve the economic status of the region. Mr. Kyerematen was speaking at Joapon during his market tour of the Volta region. Let's get an update, and Fred Kwame Asare is following the Kyerematen market tour. Fred, so after Joapon, what else has Mr. Kyerematen been up to?
Yes, so from Joapon, he headed to the Whole Central Market, that is the regional capital of the Volta region, where he interacted with traders in the market. They received him well and then made gestures of the change sign while he was going around the market, exchanging pleasantries with them. After that, he addressed the traders and then mentioned that he has a vision of establishing a skill development center in the Volta region. And he also said that it would be the biggest in West Africa. This is because he believes the Volta region has people who have skills, artisans. And then it has also produced the majority of artisans in the country, but then there is no institution to help them sharpen these skills. So he would come and then establish the skill development center so that people can go through the training or go through some formal training and then sharpen their skills and then also enhance their livelihood. He said this is part of major projects he has earmarked for every region. He mentioned that of the Ashanti region, the Greater Accra region, but then in the Volta region, he's concentrating on building skill development projects. He also mentioned that the Volta region has the potential where if major investment is made in the agri sector, people in the region would have, or people in the region would benefit enormously from this. And then also he spoke about tourism, where he said he would implement programs and policies to enhance the tourism sector of the Volta region. From who he proceeded to Mafi Kumasi, where he did a similar interaction with traders, went around the market, greeting them, sharing with them his vision of transforming the country's economy, especially here. From there, he went to the Manklalo, Douglas Rensuo Atafu, the sport, who he paid a courtesy column, and then the chief mentioned that they need a third force, or Ghana needs a third force. We've had the NDC govern this country, we've had the MPC govern this country, and then the case has been the same. We have not seen any major development. So he's saying that at the moment, Ghana needs a change and then needs a third force. So he threw his support behind Alan Kyerematen, and then he prayed for him and then blessed him, and then also added that God guide me in this endeavor so that his heart desire of becoming the president of Ghana would be achieved. Mr. Kyerematen also reaffirmed this and then mentioned that the duopoly is not really helping, the duopoly of NDC and NPP is not really helping the country. Both NDC and then the NPP have governed this country at least for 2 years. They all ended up at the IMF. So he is coming with a new position, a new strategy to help Ghana advance its economic status. He also mentioned that people are, or the citizenry are calling for change. One of the things he cited was the winner-takes-all policy, where the party that wins power does not give the opportunity to anybody who is a technocrat and does not belong to their circle or does not belong to their party to perhaps play a role in developing or governing the country. So he mentioned that that winner-takes-all policy is one thing Ghanaians are not happy with. He also mentioned that... Yeah,
so Fred, if I may come in now, so what has been the response of the market folks, places that he's visited?
Please repeat the question.
I'm asking about the response that he's received so far.
Oh, the response has been great, let me say. People, some of them were surprised to actually see him visiting their market. They were so excited. And then some of them were dressed in movement, yellow movement t-shirt, and then we see them making gestures of change. Some of them ran to him and then exchanged pleasantries. They wanted to shake him and all that. So I should say the response from the traders and then people who came to see him was great.
All right. So I guess you will continue tomorrow, or it's just a day's tour?
No, he's rounded up. It's just a day's tour. So from Soga, we ended up at Soga Corporate. So from Soga Corporate, the team is heading back to Accra.
All right, thank you very much, Fred. Kwame Asare is our Volta regional correspondent following the Alan Kyerematen tour of the region. Now to some utility issues. And the Ghana Water Company Limited in the Central Region has a review. The company has had to reduce production by 30% due to massive pollution of their source of water caused by illegal mining activities. A visit to the Kyerematen plant revealed that Galamsey activities have narrowed the intake canal, muddied the water, and clogged up the sump of the plant, significantly reducing the flow of water to the plant. Speaking at a dredging exercise at the plant intake to address the acute water shortage affecting parts of the region, the Central Regional Chief Manager of the Ghana Water Company, Sef Eric Atiapa, indicated that the situation had also significantly increased their cost of production.
This is one of our biggest plants. It supplies the environs of Elmina, and sometimes it helps with even Cape Coast South and then Cape Coast North. Today we are having two main exercises here. One is the dredging of the area surrounding the intake, and then also the manual desilting of the intake sump. So you see behind us here, we have the dredger that is removing silt accumulated over the months as a result of Galamsey at the intake canal. So first of all, when a plant is designed, we consider the nature of the raw water. Most of the time, some of the things we consider is the color and the turbidity. So I think this plant was designed with a turbidity level of about 30 500 NTU. Yes, and currently last week we got as much as I think 7,500. So you can see that almost water that cannot be treated. It's almost water that cannot be treated. But what are we doing? Now we have to use more potent chemicals at very exorbitant prices. I think 3 to 4 times more expensive, than the conventional alum that we use. So these days you will hear of polymer or polyelectrolytes, more potent but very expensive chemicals. So if we had gotten that, probably we wouldn't even have water. That is one. Two, because of the nature of the water, we have cut down production by 30% so that we can have time to treat the very poor, bad water we have.
So that's the situation with water delivery in the central region. Activities of Galamsey is hampering the efforts of the Ghana Water Company, and now they've taken this drastic decision to cut down production by at least 30%, which means that most folks or some folks in the central region may not have access to potable water running through their taps. Now, this is how we end the show for today. For more stories, log on to our website, myjournal.com. Mahama Yariga petitions the Office of the Special Prosecutor again over the new Bank of Ghana complex. Oti Region Minister Designate proposes plans to reform prisons. Unilever Ghana has relocated its tea production to Nigeria due to current mess. That's according to the minority leader, Ato Forson. We will not be in a hurry to start new projects. That's flag bearer of the NDC, John Dramani Mahama. And again, let me say that we sincerely apologize for our inability to bring you that interview with the Member of Parliament for Dom Kwapinya. These are due to factors beyond our control. Well, that's it for the show. It's been exciting having you on the pause this Monday morning. For more stories, log on to myjournal.com. My name is Elton Bobby. Have a good evening. Let's talk showbiz. It's up next on Joy News.